Okay, here we go. Daxton. Enough. Okay. Like I said, today's going to be kind of a longer lesson, so everyone needs to check in right now, get out your journals, and get ready to listen and understand. So shut all your Chromebooks. There's about 4 open. Shut them. Shut all your Chromebooks. Okay, here we go. We're going to learn 2 different things today. The first thing we're going to learn is how to graph using vertex form. This is vertex form right here. Okay? The reason why this is called vertex form is because the vertex is there, and the vertex is HK. So this is actually extremely easy to be able to graph. I'm only going to do 1 or 2 of these, and then we'll go on. So if I have 1, so the A is the shortcut, right? When we graph parabolas, remember the A is the shortcut. If A is 1, we go up 1 over 1, up 3 over 1. If A is 2, we go up 2 over 1, up 6 over 1. If A is 3, we go up 3 over 1, up 9 over 1. Nothing changes with the A here. The A still allows for the shortcut to come into play. The only difference is, right off the bat, they're going to give us our vertex. So I'm going to show you why sometimes this way is easier to graph parabolas than finding the line of symmetry and then finding the vertex. So if I have something in the form, we're just going to change f of x to y right now. Y equals x plus 1 squared plus 5. So first off, identify what's our A. A is a 1, right? Okay. Now look, this is where most people get hung up. If I needed to find my vertex here, my vertex is, yes, it's not a positive 1 right here. This is always the sign flipped. H is always the sign flipped. So if it's 1 here, it's negative 1 down there. And then your K is always the same, which is 5 right here. Okay, but whatever that is, if that right there is a negative, if H is a negative, then it's a positive down here in your vertex. If H is a positive, then it's a negative down here. Now watch this. This is how, so it already gave you that. Now watch here. We're going to be way here. Okay. Negative 1 and 5 is right there. A is 1, so we can go up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 3 over 1, and up 3 over 1, and there's your parabola. No, you don't need to graph it. You will have to graph it today on your homework, but right now you don't need to. So after you get your vertex, use your shortcut and get it. Okay, does that make sense, kind of? Here we go. Let's look at another one here. I'm trying to find them on your homework right now, but I may just need to come up with my own because every single one of these is, oh, there we go. All right, here we go. Y equals x minus 4 squared minus 3. Okay, who wants to raise their hand and tell me what my vertex is? Other than Andy. Brady, go for it. Perfect. It's positive 4. The reason why it's positive 4 is because H is negative up here. So it's positive 4 and a negative 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. So our vertex is clear down there. Luckily for us, that doesn't matter because we're just going to go, what's A in this one? 1. So we're going to go up 1 over 1, and then up 3 over 1. And there's your parabola. Okay? Any questions on how to identify what the vertex is in vertex form? Okay, good. Well, so hopefully that kind of makes sense to you. Hopefully that you're kind of like, well, geez, maybe I could graph it using that way anyways. Because believe it or not, that way is 100% simpler than finding the line of symmetry, finding the vertex, finding your table of point, whatever it is, right? That's extremely easy. So now we're going to teach you how to go from a quadratic function to vertex form. So, title it in your journal, new little bit. quadratic function to vertex form. Quadratic functions in this form, it's going to be in this form, ax squared plus bx plus c, and we're going to go to ax minus h squared plus k. Everyone ready? I'm not going to have enough room on this paper. Maybe I will. It'll be close. I'm not going to have enough room.
Not with that attitude.
Okay, here we go. If we have the quadratic function f of x, I'll just go to the next page. Negative 3x squared plus 30x minus 71. Step number 1. Group ax squared plus bx. Yeah, so that's why I had to teach that before this. The only thing different is it is going to look a little bit funny. So now this is f of x equals that. Step 2. Factor out of the group a number if you can. Usually will be A. And I say usually because when you get to Math 1050, it's not going to be A.
I'm not going to get there, boss.
Okay. So what can I factor? So look, we're not doing variables right now. When I say factor out in this part, all we're looking at is numbers. I know they both have an x. We're not factoring out an x. We're leaving x alone. All we're doing is factoring out the numbers. What can I factor out here? You have to, so if a is a negative, factor that. I always just see if I can pull a out. If you can, that's great. So on the outside of this, we're going to have a negative 3, which leaves us x squared minus 10x minus 71. Remember, you don't factor out the variables. All you do is factor out the numbers. Okay, everyone good so far? So hopefully you guys can kind of start seeing how we're going to vertex form. Everyone kind of see how we're getting it into this form right now? Look up here. So what would our A be in this case? Negative 3. What's our, well, it's going to change here in just a second, but you can kind of see how we're isolating the number here. We're getting our parentheses there. Okay, everyone good so far, so I can turn the page?
No.
Really not?
Imagine.
Well, I'll explain more in a second here. Okay. So, Dex, read me again what it looked like. Negative 3x squared.
Squared minus 10x minus 7.
Okay, why is this a minus now when it was a plus? Raise your hand if you could tell me why that's a minus. Andy, oh, Ava.
Because we're negative.
Wait, isn't it because the H is negative?
No, this is a good one. Why? Ethan. Because you factored, listen. Because we factored out a negative, it changes the sign right before it. Okay, right after it. All right, here we go. Okay, so now we're here. Everyone good so far? Step 3. Are we 3 or 4? 3? Step 3. Take 1/2 of B and square it. So b times 1/2 equals -5 squared is 25. Okay. Who in here remembers that part from completing the square? Take 1/2 of b and square it. This is where it gets a little bit more tricky, right here. From here, we're going to add step 3 right after bx inside of parenthesis and after, I'll just put C, and after C. So we're going to add it 2 different places. We have f of x equals -3, x squared minus 10x plus 25 minus 71 plus 25. What do you think step 5 is gonna be? Simple. And we're gonna add this right here, simplify. So we have f of x equals -3 x squared minus 10x plus 25 minus, is that 46? We're close. Step 5. Factor perfect square trinomial. Did I botch something?
Yeah, don't you
Oh my gosh.
if I have to rewrite something, I'm gonna be
I'm gonna cry. Yeah. Me
dead.
too.
Tough.
Oh, it's there. Just not do this.
Except it changes the sign too.
Well, the way I do it, I added 71 times -3 times 25.
Okay.
I will literally cry.
Alright. Hey, so there's a tiny little difference here I just didn't do. So just do it right now, and then on the next one I do, just put it down. This right here needed to be a 75,
Yeah.
which means this right here is going to be a +4, which means that, and I'm going to explain to you why that is.
Yeah, because I thought
That's my fault.
I thought you were going to do that.
Wait, positive 75 or negative 75?
It's a positive, because you bring it over to here, and then yeah, so.
What?
Okay, so, okay, so everyone look up here, so just change those to that. This is your answer right there. I was sitting there and I'm like, man, I've never had a number.
I never got that.
That's what caught me right at the very end is I'm like, man, I've never had to see this big. Okay, this big. Okay. Alright, so our vertex in this would be what? What would our vertex be? +5 and +4. Okay, so we need to talk about where this number comes from right here. Right now. So everyone look right here. What was the number we brought out? It was, so when we 1/2 b and we squared it, we got 25, right? Remember that one of the things we had to do is inside, if you remember back to completing the square, we have to add it to both sides of the equation, right? Well, I'm going to show you the way that I remember doing this, and I'm going to show you. So what you have to do is to get this number, you don't just do 25. You have to go negative 3 times 25, which is negative 75, and then just change the sign. That negative 75 actually is over here, and then you bring it back over here to make positive 75. But the way I'm going to teach you how to do it is just go negative. When you add 25 to this side, you would also do it over here, but this is also multiplied together by negative 3 over here, and then you have to add it back over here. But the way I'm going to tell you to do it is this. Whatever number you add to right here, times it to this number, and then change the sign and put it right there. Okay, so let's do another one so I can show you the steps. I seriously, as I was doing this problem, I got to right here and I just kept thinking something's wrong. Something's wrong. I even stopped for like 20 seconds looking at it being like something's wrong. All right, here we go. Okay. I want to do another one so we can see, so I can show you what I'm talking about. F of x equals 3x squared plus 6x. Let's go minus 6x. 3x squared minus 6x plus 7. Okay. First step, what are we going to do? Okay, so we're going to group. Hey, we're going to group ax squared and bx, and we're going to factor out a. I always look to factor out a. So now we're to there. Anybody have any questions up to that point? Step 1 and step 2. Those parts are actually extremely easy. All you're doing is grouping ax squared plus bx and then factoring out a. You know, why would I not change the sign this time? Because a is a positive, you don't change it. If a is a negative, then you do change it. Okay. What? If you only bring out numbers doing this, because bringing x out doesn't allow for you to stay in the right form.
What? How why is it negative 2?
Because it's a negative 6x up here.
But why?
Because 3 times negative 2 is
The one before you're asking, why did we change it? Because a was a negative back there, and when you factor out a negative, it also changes that sign. That's something we learned in 1.7, chapter 1.
I don't.
Okay. Well, if a is a negative, change the sign right after it.
You just have to think like you have to like times it, yeah.
Okay, here we go. 1/2 of 2 is what?
1.
Squared?
1.
Okay, good. So we're going to have 1/2 of b is 1, squared is 1. But now watch this. Okay, so we don't just add 1 over here. We go 1 times 3 and then sign changed, which is?
What?
Okay, you lost. It's a drag.
Okay, so watch
Why
again.
would you change the sign?
Because you have, I don't want to, if I teach you the whole process.
You can still win.
Okay, so listen. This step right here, this is step number 3. We take 1/2 of b, which is 1. 2 is b. 1/2 of b is 1. Squared is 1. So we add that right after bx. Then, to be able to get at what number we're going to add out here, we have to multiply that number, that 1, by a, which is 3, and change the sign and put it out here. Because when we multiply these together, it actually is over here, which means then we have to subtract it over. Okay? So now we're down to here. F of x equals 3x squared minus 2x plus 1 plus 4. And then we factor the perfect square trinomial. Okay, this is the easiest part, so watch. Is x squared a perfect square?
Yes.
What is it? Is 1 a perfect square? You bring down the sign between x squared and x, and you square it, and you're done. Once again, this number right here, bring it down. It will be. If you don't know it, it will be. It will
You
be.
did it wrong.
Okay. I'm going to give you a couple more here. I'm going to do one more and then I'll let you guys try it on your own. What was the problem? What was the first problem we had?
It was like negative 71. It was like negative 71 minus 10. No, minus 30. Well, plus 30. Minus 71.
Okay, here we go. G of X, we'll switch it up. Does that change anything?
No, it doesn't.
No.
Yes, it changes the letter. It does change things.
No, it doesn't.
Okay, I'm going to call on you guys, ask for your help here. Actually, I'm going to do this and I'm going to let you. Okay, first step, group and factor. We can factor out A. Always look to factor out A, which is going to give us G of X equals 2, X squared minus 10X plus 51. Okay, as soon as it's in this form, we're going to take 1/2 of B, which is what? Negative 5 squared,
5.
and we're going to add that to both sides, but, we're going to add that right after BX, but we're going to multiply it by 2 and change the sign. What comes over here?
Negative 50.
So remember, 25 goes right here, right after the 10x. And then from there, we're going to go 25 times 2, which is 50. Put it over here, but with the sign changed. So we're going to have G of X equals 2, X squared minus 10X plus 25 plus 1. From here, we're going to factor the perfect square trinomial. X squared is perfect, it makes X. 25 is perfect, it makes 5. Squared plus 1. Okay, you guys ready to try it on your own?
Definitely, yes. I'm so down.
Ava, you ready? Ava?
I don't even know how to do that.
Well, the first step's the easiest one. All you have to do is draw 2 parentheses. I don't even know how to do it. So you multiply it by A, which is 50, and then subtract it. And then change the sign. Okay, here we go. 25 is 5, X squared is X. Bring down that sign. It's here. She missed. Jordan, I answered this question for you and Sam. Jordan, where did the 10 go right here? If you FOIL it, it's right there too. Okay, there you go. Do this one. No. X minus 5 times X minus 5. If you FOIL it, it'll go right back to X squared minus 10X plus 25. True story. There you go, try this one. Oh, it's going to make a big one. Big one. I'm saying it'll be a bigger number out here.
Oh, you mean that. Okay. I thought you were talking about something else.
You did it wrong.
I don't know.
It's a triple digit. No, it doesn't.
How? It's a negative.
Oh, it's 16.
It's not anymore. That's 16.
16 times 2.
I'm just saying it's going to be bigger over here than what we're
Yeah,
accustomed
I was
to.
wondering what you meant by like that.
Wait, I definitely just
I have to
did
break
it.
Because 16 times 2 is 30, but then you put the sign, so it's 31.
16 squared.
You just,
Oh, no. Oh, yeah, 16 times 2. Okay. But it's not 16. What's 1/2 of 16?
no, what? Don't you just have 4?
8 squared, which is 64.
Because you had to
I'll show
have
you.
8.
I'll show you.
That's what I was confused. Now I'm confused. Wait, I did it wrong.
No, you're right.
How did I get 8?
It is 8. See?
How did I get 8? Oh, I tapped it.
You're good. You're good.
Well, now
No, you're great. Keep going. Shh, Daxton, turn around now. Daxton. Now. You're not done.
I got to that though. It's farther than I think. Like,
It's a really, really small number.
look.
Shelby, how'd you do? Jackson, did I do this first part right? Okay, Jackson, what would you do next? Which is? So we're going to add that right after B, right? Okay, and then we go 16 times 2, which is subtracted, so then we change the sign, right? Stop talking. So we have 8x plus 16 minus 1. Okay, Jackson, now what? Okay, Jackson, factor this for me. What is x squared perfect? Is 16 perfect? We bring down the sign between the x squared and the x, and we square it. Minus 1. Who got it right?
Oh, I did it.
I even tried to throw a little bit of doubt in a couple of your guys' heads. This number out here is great big.
Why did you do that?
Well, I just like seeing if anybody will argue with me. And a few of you guys did, which I was proud of. Usually people are like,
I definitely argued.
no. Oh, he's definitely right. I screwed it.
I did it. I didn't think either. I realized I did it wrong.
Okay,
After I did it, I'm like,
what is the vertex if I had you list the vertex?
It's 4 and negative 1.
Negative 4,
Way to go.
Okay, why is the negative?
because H is always, the sign's always backwards.
But that does not
That's
make
the
sense.
first thing I thought. Well, what's the formula, Jackson?